Show. Aloha, everybody, and welcome to the Joystick Show podcast, where three friends from high school in Hawaii get together to chat about the latest things that we've watched, read, and played. And today, that would be the Acolyte trailer. Drake, let's get into it.
Okay, Acolyte. First, we need to go through what does that even mean? What does Acolyte mean? Tom, you looked at the definition a little bit earlier. Can you define it for us?
Sure, it feels like you're screaming at me. The one, the one who is a member of the clergy in a liturgical service by performing minor duties. Uh, yeah, I don't know how that relates to this show. We were
Nope.
kind of talking about it a little bit. Like, I don't know who the acolyte would be from this trailer, and to be honest, I don't really care. But what are your thoughts on that?
Uh, yeah, that's true. It's kind of really not ambiguous, but you really don't know. It could be any one of those things. Just because I think if you're acolyte hiding within the midst, you want to not you want your identity to not be known. But I think that's really cool because then maybe it's like a mystery that unveils itself slowly. I mean, the cast in itself, I think some new people, some established individuals, and so maybe it'll kind of be the come up of the century. I don't know. Who knows? That's a big claim. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, I have no idea who the acolyte would be from this trailer, and I still don't even really know what the story is from it, but I don't think it matters at all.
Mm-mm.
We're just gonna get into our top three things that we noticed, liked, enjoyed from this trailer. And Drake, why don't you kick it off with your number one?
My number one was kind of interesting because the first thing I noticed was the color of all the scenes.
Oh,
The
I thought you were gonna
to
say the lightsabers,
Oh, the
because there's a lot of
lightsabers.
lightsaber
There's
colors in
so
this.
much lightsabers, very neon-y. But the color palette of the entire trailer was kind of beautiful. It was very colorful without being like vibrant. So think Ragnarok, how everything was very bright and very colorful. Whereas in this, you have tones and hues that match. At the same point in time, like it's smooth. It's almost like dawn a little bit and dusk a little bit, where it's not super bright. And I think that's in line with how the story seems to be unfolding within the structure of the trailer, where you see a bunch of scenes and you're like, oh, maybe that's a part of the thing. And then you see a little bit of like cloak and dagger, and then you see some lightsaber battles, and then you see faces of things that you're excited for. So hopefully, much like Andor did, it's going to be kind of that tonality throughout.
Oh, yeah, the tone looks so serious in it, but I can agree with you. There's like this weird kind of, it's not a grayscale, but it's almost like sepia toned, if that's the right
Yeah, yeah,
word,
yeah, yeah.
like that look. But I also feel like in this trailer, we get to see a pretty big balance of light and dark. I mean, they talk about it in the poster, right? But there's the moment where they're in the Jedi temple area with all the younglings, and it's very white and it's very bright. And then it's like juxtaposed in this trailer with like very dark moments. So there's like this shaded character that's in the background. I think kind of in line with what we were saying earlier. Dude, yeah, it just has a sick look. And I think that kind of goes into, it's not necessarily my number one, but I'll just jump here anyway, which is like the fantastic scenography. I had to look up that word.
Ooh.
Didn't know what
Yep,
it
yep,
meant.
yep, yep.
Didn't know what it was. I was like, what's costuming and scene, whatever. We looked it up. Scenography. And so, like, dude, the costumes are on point. The way the set looks, I feel like they've mastered the way the volume works now with that big CGI kind of 3D background. It's not 3D, but like, that wraparound background, and then practical parts of the set. So like when you go, I think it's like in the first 30 seconds, you jump from the younglings into like that city that kind of looks like it has those Japanese temple kind of gateways
Mm,
that you would
mm.
walk in. They're normally red and everything. Um, they have that, but it also is like it looks Star Wars. So man, I feel like they've just kind of took everything they've learned from the Mandalorian, from Andor, and maybe just perfectly combined it for the show. But it just looks fucking awesome.
Yeah, I agree with you. The sets and the setting, the scenography, beautiful. As Star Wars kind of goes along, even from the prequels to the OG to the sequels, it just kind of got better with technology and even more vast, where it's very cinematic. Like we bring this up, or I bring this up a lot, like A24. So that's really cool to kind of see them expand on it more and give us a deeper, richer environment.
Yeah, man, 100%. So yeah, it's such a fun time, I think, to be a Star Wars fan, but
Oh yeah, oh
especially in
yeah.
this universe. I think we looked it up. It's 100 years before the prequels. So it's like a 132 BBY according to Wikipedia, and it's a time where the Jedi are kind of at their peak, which we
Mm,
haven't seen before.
no.
Like I
Mm-mm.
mean, a little bit in the prequels, but then we quickly see them fall. We know that's not going to happen for at least 100 years. So I'm
Yeah.
I'm excited to see some Jedi at the top of their game and have to figure out a threat. Something that you notice if you watch deeper into a trailer is that they're all standing around, which the cast with Carrie Ann Moss, so fucking dope. Who is I'm trying to think of what the actor's name is from Squid Games.
Oh, Lee Jung Jae.
Lee Jung Jae. Yeah, dude, he's in there too. Bro, I didn't. I mean, I don't know if this is racist or not, but like, I didn't know he speaks as good at English as he does. But
Oh,
his English is awesome, and he's so convincing.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
he seems like a wise, determined Jedi master. What's
Mm.
your take on the cast?
I think the cast in itself is appropriate, right? Because we're going 100 years before the prequels. I'm also interested in to see what kind of maybe cameos we'll get or what kind of nods to characters in the prequels we'll get. Maybe Mace Windu type situations, just because
Yoda.
yeah, Yoda, 100 years before, this is like now the whisper, right, of the Sith kind of coming back. But in terms of like Amandla Sternberg or Daphne Keene, Juna Suotamo,
Yeah.
brand, kind of newer names for us in watching things, but I think are going to give a fresh new look and maybe be the future of this particular series and maybe bringing a new light to Star Wars as a whole. I think the new cast will help us be involved with these characters because we have had such established characters in the rest of the Star Wars series, right? Like Qui-Gon Jinn is, uh, you know, um,
Obi-Wan's master.
yeah, Obi-Wan's
Yeah,
master.
Liam
Obi-Wan,
Neeson.
yeah, Liam Neeson. Obi-Wan is Ewan McGregor, etc. So I think this will help us kind of get involved with the characters a little bit more, care a little bit more, because it's new for everybody.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's not connected to the Skywalker saga in a sense. So, yeah, this is badass, dude. That was my number one. The cast of this show,
Mm.
phenomenal. Like again, we've already mentioned Carrie Ann Moss. A lot of people know her as Trinity from The Matrix. Dude, she even in her fight choreography right in the beginning is so matrixy to me, and I love that. It
Oh yeah.
looks kind of flowy with the martial arts and the way she uses the force. There's a scene where she like pushes back the assassin and she slides. That just
Mm.
felt right out of the fight between Morpheus and Neo in the
Oh
dojo.
man. Would
So
you? Oh no, go ahead and finish your thought, and then I'll finish mine.
No, yeah, and then Lee Jung Jae, and then Daphne Keene. She's like a blink and you miss it. Like if you didn't know that was her because she's got like white dreads and blue face, you
Yeah.
wouldn't know that's her. And then I was like, oh shit, is that Daphne Keene? 100% it is. And like, wow, what a standout young actress to throw in
Mm.
the mix between these like some of these veteran or like maybe older actors. So it's so good.
So good. When you talked about The Matrix, I was like, wouldn't it be awesome if Keanu could become into the Star Wars realm?
Yeah, I love that. But how do it might become like the Jack Black problem from The
Oh yeah.
Mandalorian. Like everyone's like
Yeah.
Lizzo and Jack Black, that's stupid, and it's like I didn't have a problem with it at all, but I can see why for some people it took it out of like it took them out of the
Yeah.
story.
John
Uh,
Wick does Star Wars. Yeah, that'd be kind of.
yeah, like if he would agree to be some kind of alien,
Oh
and
yeah,
then
yeah, yeah.
I would be so on board with that. But yeah, John Wicking as an alien Star Wars with the Force, yeah, sign me up.
Whew. Um, my number one excitement was just having a Wookiee back. You
Dude.
missed, yeah, I miss a Chewbacca. You don't really get much Wookiees. Within the realm, you have individuals like Lobaka and Tyvoka, but we haven't really heard of them. I know in the High Republic they're going to be unveiling some Wookiee Jedi as well too. But in this, we get a Wookiee right off the bat. I mean, obviously we don't necessarily know if he's going to be a Jedi, but I can only assume that they're going to put a laser beam in his hands. and
Yeah,
have it lightsaber up, but
a
that's gonna be
laser
cool to
sword.
see. Laser sword.
Yeah, I think
Um,
which was like the original name before they called it lightsabers or something.
yeah.
But dude, the Wookiee looks dope. Yeah, as Frank put it, he's got the reverse shogunate.
Oh yeah.
So it's instead of like the no hair or like shaved right in the middle of the head with the bun in the back, it's just like the bun over the top to the back and shaved on
Yeah.
the sides. It's like a you really gotta look for it, but I love that detailing. Dude, yeah. The Wookiee with a lightsaber, we've only seen it in the Clone Wars. You
Yep.
know, there was that part where the younglings go out and they're picking their crystals and everything, with Hyung Yang, I think, or what was the droid's name from Ahsoka?
Oh man. He
Yeah, putting
I
you on
don't
the spot.
remember.
Hugh Yang, Hugh
Yeah.
Yang.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But so we saw in that episode they had those younglings picking their lightsaber. But dude, Wookiees with lightsabers all day, all day. I love it. It's
Yeah, I
freaking
know,
sick.
dude. Yeah.
But yeah, man, God, it looks so phenomenal. I'm trying not to get overly hyped about it, but I
Yeah.
am. So
Yeah.
it just is like, this is something you and me have talked about since we were like in middle school. Like,
Yeah.
wouldn't it be cool to see just the Jedi like owning and just wrecking house? And I feel
Yeah.
like this is finally gonna give us that. Like we kind of got it in Clone Wars, but they never felt like they were on top. It always felt like they were
No.
kind of fighting from behind. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
yeah, yeah.
this
The
this
entire
feels
time.
different.
Yeah, it was like you said, it was definitely like the Jedi are not ominous, but they're like they're so cool because they were so few and they were so strong against like a threat of the Sith that's very kind of easy to understand. Power, um, uh, utilizing it to get the things that you want, and then the balance of the both sides, and then you kind of get from the prequels and the sequels, kind of more of the bigger picture. But I think now going into the depth of the history and seeing a little bit more of it, a better understanding, a deeper, richer history in that sense, I think is going to give it a lot more meaning, and hopefully change things up a little bit for us and continue to build on that whole IP.
They doing it. It looks real rich. It looks
Yeah.
like super creamy dark chocolate whipped up by the best chocolate baker ever.
Oh
Like,
wow. Oh wow. Chocolate
oh
Baker
wow.
edible. Oh wow.
But yeah, I think it looks phenomenal. You mentioned the Sith though. There's one part towards the end of the trailer
Oh
where it's like the whole major cast standing together. Carrie Ann Moss, Lee Jung Jae. Oh, they're all kind of standing there, and there's two Sith-looking people in the background. They have black hoods, and they look like they're holding a bow and arrow. Maybe like
yeah.
Omega does.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like
Something about
energy
this
though.
gives me the feeling like they know about the dark side, but maybe they don't really know about the Sith fully.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if it's like the emergence of new Sith or the Sith that we know from the movies. So I don't know. They very much to me just look like Sith,
Yeah.
and it's weird because they're standing with the Jedi. So I wonder what's up with that.
Yeah, it's interesting too because I think the further back you go in the history of the Jedi and the Sith having their own homeworld, Jedi having their own homeworld, and the battle between them, it's a very rich kind of history.
So
And so
rich.
for for them not to know about that milk chocolatey goodness, the Jedi about the Sith, right?
Yeah.
And maybe it's just like a whisper of like, oh, this used to be a thing, but it'd be interesting for the Jedi to like not be completely aware of things that are happening. Obviously, that was taking place in like Clone Wars, but at this point in time, where they're at their peak, when they've defeated the Sith, they should be kind of aware of that kind of bacteria growing and growing and growing. So,
Right.
um,
Yeah, it might be one of those things they're so high up on their pedestal that they don't
yeah,
see the threat that's looming beneath. And I kind of
yes,
get that vibe from it as well. So,
mm,
man, there's so many cool directions they can go with this. I'm pumped. This is looking great.
yeah. If Ahsoka, Mandalorian, and Andor are any indication what this is gonna be like, then hopes high. And to be honest, Star Wars has been a little bit more consistent than the rest of Disney's IP. So um,
Yeah, I'd agree with
hopefully,
that.
hopefully it's the best. Hopefully it's the best. Hopefully
Yeah,
it's the
yeah.
best.
We get a red lightsaber at the end. Finally, it's like somebody throws it, and it seems, I don't know. Actually, I didn't see it hit anybody, but
Yeah.
hopefully this time it does. We've only seen it twice in live action. We saw it once with Luke in Return of the Jedi, and then we saw it once with Rey, and I think the last movie, which I block out in my memory.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully it's cool, but yeah, I wonder who that threat is. Dude, it's just so much of this looks great. I'm fucking pumped.
Yeah. Have you heard anything about the head writer Leslie Headland? What do you know what she's
I
done before?
I have not. No. Do you ever IMDb pulled up?
Yep. She did the Single Drunk Female, Russian Doll, Almost Family, Heathers, The Bachelorette, co-produced The Bachelorette.
Interesting. Yeah, those
And
things.
it's supposed to be a mystery thriller. This show I think is named through, and
Dude, that's great. I
yeah,
feel like I get that feeling from the trailer.
for sure. One of the things I think that is converse is there was a kind of a short on YouTube where they were talking to the directors and the writers of Marvel, where they were explicitly told not to read the comic books and just to write.
Yeah, yeah. That was the yep, old that was old Marvel, but yes.
Yeah,
You're right.
so
Yeah.
old Marvel situation. So new since Iger came back for Disney. Hopefully that's kind of changed,
No,
right?
I mean the not reading comic books was like, I mean I don't know if Iger was there, but that was like early 2000s with like the Fox X-Men
Yeah.
stuff. But that that was pre Kevin Feige being in charge.
Yeah, I just hope that Leslie has a working knowledge of the situation because to be honest, the writing in the last three things, Ahsoka, Andor, and Mandalorian were good. The
Yeah,
action was good, so I'd like to see that kind of be the case. And considering Leslie, it looks like and seems like this is kind of a new venture for her to be in a Star Wars situation. So,
for sure. And I'm pretty sure Leslie has to report to Filoni,
oh,
so
that's true. Yeah.
I'm not that worried about it. Yeah, yeah. It looks phenomenal. Yeah. Any other final thoughts?
If you are not going to watch Acolyte, then
Get
you
off our
suck.
show.
Yeah, suck.
Yeah, yeah.
You suck.
Totally. All right. Well, yeah, fantastic trailer all around. Let us know what you guys think. Are you excited for it? Did you notice anything that we didn't talk about here?
Oh,
Please
yeah.
let us know. Hit us up on the socials, and we'll hear from you soon.
Yeah.
Yep. Thanks for sticking it with us.
The Joystick Show. The Joystick Show.